Visionaries who are not only preserving the culture, but expanding it in very powerful ways. I'll start first with Annette Roche. She's the founder of Napstar, one of the nation's leading lock brands, redefining beauty standards and setting the bar for innovation in natural hair care. With 5, I give flowers. I need to. It's very important that we know who sit here before us, who share, who work in that culture, right? With 5 thriving salon locations across the U.S. and a fast-growing signature product line, Napstar has become a trusted destination for thousands seeking expertise, creativity, and care throughout every stage of their lock journey. Under Annette's leadership, the brand has cultivated a loyal community, blending artistry with education to empower both clients and stylists. Recognized as a trailblazer in the natural hair industry, she continues to champion cultural pride, entrepreneurship, and excellence while expanding the Napstar legacy and shaping the future of the lock movement. Welcome, Annette. Next, we have Michelle Cador, a Brooklyn-born entrepreneur, strategist, and international speaker who has built platforms that amplify underrepresented voices and empower independent brands of color. She's the owner and co-founder of The Spot NYC, a creative retail hub, and has supported over 500 brands and creatives. She's the founder of Yes I Am, a fashion brand that gained national recognition through MasterCard's Strivers Initiative alongside Jennifer Hudson. With a backdrop in corporate finance at JP Morgan Chase and workforce development at the New York City Department of Small Business Services, Michelle combines acumen with a passion for economic empowerment. She's also a Baruch grad, and at Goldman Sachs, 10 KSB scholars and mentor with 1 million Black women in business. Michelle has forged partnerships with organizations with Lululemon, Pfizer, and the Knicks, while securing competitive grants from major corporations and nonprofits. Through her advisory firm, she designed and led the Shoot Your Shot business pitch readiness program for the Atlanta Hawks and Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurs, equipping founders with tools to scale their businesses. She serves on multiple boards, including the Fulton Mall Improvement Association and the Brooklyn Women's Business Center Advisory Council, and is a reviewing judge for Pharrell Williams' Black Ambition Prize. Committed to community, collaboration, and innovation, Michelle continues to create opportunities, break barriers, and inspire the next generation of entrepreneurs. Welcome, Michelle.
Good up, Michelle.
Next, we have Patricia O'Donnell, founder of Sweet Life 135 in Brooklyn. Patricia O is a highly respected, independent, certified master's law optician with more than 18 years of experience serving clients of all textures. Known for her expertise and artistry, Patricia specializes in progressive lock services and advanced styling techniques that celebrate both individuality and cultural heritage. She's also been a sage supporting Lavetta these last several years. Her approach goes beyond aesthetics. She is deeply committed to promoting the health and longevity of locks, ensuring her clients receive not only beautiful results, but also holistic care. Recognized for her dedication and reputation in the field, Patricia continues to be a trusted and sought-after professional in the natural hair community. Please welcome Patricia. Next, we have Keisha Charmaine, the founder of Love, Light, and Locks, a holistic beauty and wellness brand dedicated to nurturing natural hair, skin, and overall well-being through organic, herb-infused products. With over 15 years of experience caring for her own locks, she's become a trusted voice in the natural hair care community, empowering individuals to embrace their beauty with confidence and authenticity. Since 2018, she's handcrafted small batch premium products such as the best-selling horsetail leaf growth oil that have helped countless customers achieve beauty and thriving locks. In addition to her work as an entrepreneur and influencer, Keisha is the author of the More Than a Hair Journey series, which you will find here. Look her up. Including the recently released 15th Locnificent edition, which explores themes of self-love, empowerment, and growth. Through her brand, writing, and mentorship, she continues to educate and inspire others to live authentically, aligned with purpose, and pursue holistic wellness, proving that natural beauty, empowerment, and success are deeply connected. Welcome, Keisha. And finally, but certainly not least, we have our fearless leader, Lavetta Umwoku. I want you to know Lavetta is actually a very shy person. What you see, this is not her. I forced her. I was like, not today.
Well, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Lavetta is the founder and the CEO of Culture Unlocked LLC. It's a Brooklyn-based creative and cultural production studio that reimagines how Black joy, identity, and diaspora culture are celebrated through experience design, storytelling, and community-empowered events. She's the visionary behind Locnificent Fest, New York City's premier celebration of locks, natural hair, and diaspora culture. Since its launch in 2018, the festival has grown into a 2-day experience, blending hair showcases, performances, marketplaces, and dialogue. She centers the community. She spotlights the community. She focuses on Black-owned businesses and honoring natural hair as art, heritage, and resistance. Beyond the festival, Lavetta curates Love His Locks NYC and serves on the board of Africa Everything New York City, extending her mission of cultural empowerment year-round. She does this work year-round. Her work has been featured in outlets such as BK Reader, Amsterdam News, and haircare magazine. And in 2025, she received a New York State Assembly Member Citation Award for Cultural Leadership and Community Impact. That's right. Alongside her entrepreneurial work, she has spent 18 years in civil service and continues her career in affordable housing development, still working for the community.
That is the true work.
That's the work. Reflecting her commitment to building spaces, creating opportunity, both physical and cultural, that celebrates creativity, resilience, and inclusion. So please help me welcome all of our panelists. We're gonna dive into this conversation real quick, all right? I know you've been waiting to hear all about this wonderful juice, right? Knowledge is gonna be poured out from our panelists. It's all about setting the standards. So I want to begin by asking some questions defining what those standards are. So Annette, Napstar has become a trusted name in lock hair. In your opinion, what standards should every loctician hold, no matter where they are in their journey?
Hi everybody. So one of the standards that I think every loctician should uphold is, what is your signature service? So for instance, at Napstar, we have our signature service, which is our comb retwist. So all of our stylists do the comb retwist using a comb, they retwist the roots, and then they wrap down. That is our signature. So every Napstar you go to, you can trust that we're gonna give you our comb retwist. And you're not gonna get palm rolling, you're not gonna get interlocking, you're not gonna get locksmithing, because that's not our standard. So although clients may want things, it's really important that we stick to our standards, that we can ensure that at every location you go to, you're gonna receive the same quality of work. Just like how you go to McDonald's and every time the burger is the same, I want that retwist to be clean and the same. So we don't let our stylists do other services that are not in standard, because it can break down our system and also jeopardize the quality of our work, because we train you on specific things.
That's fantastic. So there's a quality to the hair.
Yes.
Patricia. So with nearly 2 decades of experience, right, this is our sage. We're the most overlooked, right? what are, in your thoughts and opinions and experience, what are the most overlooked aspects of lock health and maintenance that we professionals should center when talking about standards?
So, good evening, everyone. So, what I think is more overlooked is consultations. We need more consultations. I think that we need to gain tight relationships, and a lot of us have a lot of clientele, but build better relationships with your clients so that they do want to listen to what you have to tell them as far as lock care, maintenance, and stuff like that. We're getting stronger. The Lock Society is definitely building, and it's such a beautiful thing to see. I still get excited each time I get a new client coming into me to start locks, not even to maintain locks. So that's a beautiful thing. So I think consistency in our health care, and our, that too, but our hair care, and to make sure that it's not just take the money, push them out the door, life goes on, but to build a relationship amongst the Lock Society.
That's beautiful. So it really centers on consistency, right?
Consistency, yes.
Being able to develop that relationship.
Definitely, definitely.
Lavetta. So as a curator of a festival, one that we look forward to every year, this festival is really built around celebrating locks, right? And natural hair. How do you feel cultural events like Locnificent Fest, right, helping to set and reinforce standards for our community?
How do they set and reinforce standards? So, in my opinion, events such as Locnificent Fest are essential. You know, I started it in 2018 with a small vision. I call it small because it was, at the time, small, and now it's bigger and greater, right? It was a one-time thing, meant to be a lock appreciation event, a day party of sorts. It was in our backyard, and we gathered, we had two locticians, Dr. Tondo Capelle and Faja Wali there, and I knew nothing about the event space. I'm not a hair care professional, but I have one, a love and appreciation for locks and their natural beauty, and two, I have an appreciation for bringing people together to celebrate authenticity and culture. So I think that I think it's always important to celebrate culture. It's important to celebrate authenticity and who we authentically are, right? We should take pride in that, we should feel comfortable in that, and we should be celebrated. And that is a purpose of Locnificent Fest, to celebrate us as who we are.
So, as we're thinking about standards, and this question is open to the panel, how do we separate passing trends from some of the timeless practices that protect the health and heritage of locks and hair? Gentlemen, who wants to take that?
I think it's important to do both. I really respect the lock journey, and I can definitely do a lot of things that are traditionally based, but I also like some of the new trends. It also brings in new clients who want to try new things with their locks, and some people tend to feel stuck with their locks sometimes. So I think it's great to really offer all the options that you can for people that have locks, because we're locticians. Like, I want you to keep your locks. I don't want you to be tempted to straighten your hair. So if I can do something to give you a little bit more length or give you curls on the end, and that's trendy, like, I'm gonna do it. But I can still give you starter locks with comb coils, and I can also do extensions. So I think it's important to do both so that you can bring in new clients and target more people so that they can have locks.
Just to piggyback off of what Annette's saying, which is 100% correct, I offer many fields of locks, and some things I just don't like to do. Not that it's not a good technique, it's just not for me. But learning new things in the lock world, because it is advancing. So it is good to know more and more. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to offer that, because that's not what a person may specialize in. But it's always good to have it under your belt, just in case you have someone come into you and you don't have to turn them away, or know the community that you can refer them to someone who can offer them a good service in a field that they're looking for.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. So also I have a lot of team members, and some of them are young, and some of them are very seasoned stylists. So I feel like a lot of my younger stylists are actually very hungry to try other things, and so that kind of feeds into their creativity with allowing them to try different stuff within the lock space.
Excellent. So what I'm hearing from this is that, yes, let's try new things, let's bring more people on this journey, not closing doors, but keeping spaces open, which I think one of the things around hair is that it also speaks to culture, right? And exposure. And so how do we expose people to this culture in ways that manifest appreciation? But I think we can also talk a little bit about appropriation, right? And how that translates for folks who feel as though the culture can be remixed, can be watered down almost, right? So what are your thoughts on keeping true and authentic to culture while also being open to bringing people along and understanding what this tradition and trajectory actually are? This is just open to the panel, so anyone can answer.
Open conversation. Open conversation, open the doors for questions. Sometimes people may have a thought in mind, including myself, that I don't know where to turn and stuff. Right now, I'm in the midst of beautiful people doing wonderful, excellent things. And I know who I want to tap into, each and every one of you in the room, but there's specific fews. So conversation is very important to open the doors so that we could keep it going. Conversation, not a text message, is what keeps things going, like keeps a view going, and it goes on and on from there, to me.
I think I may have a differing opinion when it comes to this. I think that we as a culture need to do better at gatekeeping. And when I say gatekeeping, I don't mean keeping people out completely, but I mean getting a better grip and control over how our culture is reflected when it comes to locks in particular. So I think that cultural appreciation is a great thing, and when other cultures embrace locks, I support it when I feel like it's done with reverence and respect to the originators, African people, Black people, and people of African diaspora. And I think that's really important to push that messaging and to be serious about that. And that's what I mean by gatekeeping.
I want to piggyback. So I'm not a loctician. I don't have locks. But as a business owner who creates space for over 500 Black and POC-owned brands in a location that does not look like what we remember it to be, right? My store is located in Albee Square Mall, which is now City Point, Brooklyn, right? Most people are like, what is City Point? You have to say, oh, Albee, right? So we've seen how our neighborhoods have been changed, right? Which is why I sit on the board down there to make sure that we still have a voice. But the whole thing is, as we are in this space, I have a very diverse clientele, very diverse customer, right? And there are people who come in, our work is of us, right? But people come in and they appreciate it. You know, there are some who may not, and I don't notice them. They come in, they go out. But there are many who do, and so the space is open for everyone, even though it's primarily Black, right? It's open for everyone who appreciate it. I've had conversations with people who don't look like us necessarily, but they are on our side, right? Allies. And so I think the important thing is to stay authentic and to also, not be afraid. We've never been afraid to be who we are. We have pieces that say, Black in business, or one of my old partners had Black privilege, right? And we have some pieces that are like, keep the seat, I want the whole damn table, or the system don't work is one of our newest pieces, and it's something that everyone can relate to, right? So we can protect what we have, but also stay open to others who want to appreciate who we are and what we have, because you never know what that can look like, right?
Absolutely. So, so kind of moving towards understanding and strategically thinking about blueprint of business and legacy in particular, right? Michelle, I'll come right back to you. You've built not just a brand, but platforms that elevate entire communities, right? You talk about 500, right? What parallels have you seen really in the work that you do between setting standards in business and setting standards in Black hair culture?
Yeah, I love this question. I think like if we take locks, for example, right? Most people start, and correct me if I'm wrong, because this is the reason why I haven't done it yet. You gotta do the big chop, right? And my hair is natural, but you have to do the big chop and you start from your starter locks, right? But everybody wants the long, flowy locks. They want to get there. So some of us will go with the fall locks so that it could just grow out. They don't want to do the ugly stage. But the beautiful thing about business, when you compare it to hair care, is you have to go through that ugly stage, right? And it's not an ugly stage. It's part of the process. It's part of the growth. It's laying the foundation, right? And so once you can't, if you skip ahead, where I started, we started in a 100 square foot space in Dumbo, $500 each Chardonnay, $1,500 down. And we started with 3 brands in shop. Within 6 months, we had 25 brands. In 2 years, we had 50. And then we moved to City Point. Now we're over 200 there, right? But had we jumped right into that 200, we would have fallen. We would have failed. We would not have been able to appreciate where we are right now. And it's still a journey. So I look back at like how we laid that foundation. We had to take step by step by step to get to where we are now. And it was worth every single pop-up, every single late night, leaving work and coming through. Just like you go through the process of your year, you enjoy that journey because it makes you stronger. And then when things come, pandemic, partners leaving, debt, all these things coming your way, you can still stand on your 10 toes down because you've gone through the hard part and now you're in the glory of the crown just flowing.
Yes, ma'am. So I'm going to take this question around legacy in business to Keisha. So your work blends storytelling, it blends wellness and lock care. So how important is it in your thoughts to create not just products, right, but also narratives and education as part of that blueprint that we're leaving behind?
The narratives and the education is very important. It comes before the products. And people need to understand why they should be using these products in the first place. They need the education and the understanding of the importance of the organic ingredients. Why should I use this? Why should I be consistent with it? What's horsetail? What is that? So was on the forefront of my content creation. Prior to even having the idea of making products myself, my goal was to educate in the form of sharing what I've learned from opticians, sharing what I've learned from herbalists and hair care providers and names, and what I've learned on my own experience. So that's pretty much what my whole platform was about for the first, 8 years maybe. I was just sharing what I learned. I learned something, I'm sharing it, and as my platform grew and I learned of the impacts of the following, or I learned of my impact through my following, that's when I created the products. And yes, they continue to go hand in hand as I educate about the products specifically and why people should be using organic or why I think that you should consider using organic. You know, I don't like to tell people what they should do, but I will tell them why I believe they should do it. Yeah. Did I answer that question?
You did.
Okay.
This is about authenticity, right? And people speaking truth to their own realities and experiences. And so hearing that perspective, it's comforting, right? To know that your successes are really coming from wanting to share, right? So that's important. We don't share enough out here. Amwoku. So you built a lot of I've been messing with her for 30 years.
It says my name correctly, also that.
So Lavetta, you built Locnificent Fest into this cultural movement, and I've seen it from just a nascent idea, right? How do events, and this is just purely your thoughts around this, and that's why I think it's important for you to be on panels so that we can learn as an entrepreneur, right? But also as someone who is within that thought space, right? How do events like yours extend that blueprint beyond business and beauty, and really focusing more in terms of legacy and cultural preservation? So you do your events all over New York City. So how does that lend itself to that cultural preservation and legacy?
I would say that Locnificent Fest and, the word locked is in it, Locnificent, right? So people tend to think, oh, okay, it's for people with locks only, okay? I can't go if I don't have locks. Anyone who's been to Locnificent Fest can attest that about 40% of the people there do not have locks. And I think because there's a few reasons. One, we're spotlighting cultural beauty, right? So you can have an appreciation for what is being spotlighted by Patricia, Tondo, and the other artists, hopefully Annette, all the people who are part of the part of the hair show, and have an appreciation for it. Then there's the opportunity to spotlight local businesses, Black-owned businesses, talented artists who are from local and near and far. And then there's the opportunity to have fun too. I want to say Locnificent. I like to pride myself in being a slightly niche. I want to celebrate hair, uplift the beauty and culture of it, but I also want to make sure we're having a good time while doing it. And I think so. To answer your question, I think there's a lot of cultural impact that comes from the event, and locks and natural hair are just a catalyst, right? But hair informs our identity, it shapes who we are, but so do a lot of things, right? Especially people of color, right? There's so many things that feed into our daily lives, and it can get complicated, right? Like we walk around, oh, you're here, oh, I thought it was braided. The microaggressions that we have to carry every day, right? That people, they don't understand it, they don't mean any harm, or maybe they do. But we have to carry that every day, and we have to figure out how to push through and smile and nod or check them, however you want to, respond. But, places like Locnificent Fest, those sort of events it's a space where we look past that and just amplify culture, amplify the beauty, and amplify each other.
Absolutely. I think one of the things that I'm taking away from your response here is thinking about how we carry certain things based on our experiences, and microaggressions, which is actually a term I refuse to use because there's nothing micro about these aggressions that we experience on a daily basis. And cumulatively, these microaggressions have very large impacts, right, on our experiences, whether it's in society generally, but in the workplace in particular. And so I characterize them more as injuries, because if you have an injury, you need to have time to heal, right? So you recognize that injury, you have to figure out what solution can be able to heal that injury and then move through that process. So I think when you created Locnificent, it was an opportunity to not just showcase beautiful hair, Black culture, but create community around that, right? So just a cross-panel question. In the same vein, how can locticians and their hair specialists think beyond the chair, right? Through entrepreneurship, right? Education, content creation, right? Because there's a lot of influence happening, whether in the chair, in that space, or outside. Really think about that to be able to expand their impact and secure legacy. So how would you characterize that? I leave it open. Okay.
Since we're talking about social media, I just want to chime in real quick. So I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs, especially small business owners, get overwhelmed with the thought of social media, especially when they're still behind the chair. And so one of the things that we've done at Napstar that really helped to streamline and make sure that you have content every day is every day we write a shot list. So every day social media is required to do a certain amount of things when they come in for their shift. So if they're working 8 hours, they have to do 10 stories a day and 2 reels. So in the beginning of the morning, they're gonna come in, they're gonna open the appointment book, and they're gonna look at all the clients coming in that day. What big tickets do we have? What kind of services are coming in today? Because I feel as though all of our clients are stars. My stylists are stars, so every day I'm gonna highlight them. So when the social media team comes in, they're gonna be like, all right, today I'm gonna get an intro with her. These are the 10 stories in it. Intro, what are the specials? Let's get BTS. What kind of questions are we gonna ask the guests while they're under the dryer? So every morning they're gonna send me this list of 10 things that are gonna be on the stories, and then they're gonna tell me what service they're gonna highlight on a reel, and then they're gonna send me the TikTok, which is like the skit they're gonna do that day. So I think for us as entrepreneurs, when we're thinking about social media, we need to break it down a little bit so it's a little bit more relatable. Like, hey, every day you have an opportunity to make content. What are you gonna get? Even if it's not 10 things, what are the 5 things? What are the 3 things I'm gonna post today? And let me write them so I have a checklist. So it goes, I do it. And with me and my team, I have a social media manager who checks the shot list every morning to say, hey, do this special instead of this, or whatever it is that we need. And at the end of the day, she does a quality control check. So she goes over the shot list. What did you do? What did you not do? Did you upload all your content? This is a spell check. So we really have checks and balances when it comes to social media. Therefore, we always get our content out. So I would encourage you guys, when you're doing social media, it's free advertisement. I would constantly be pumping. Like I said, I have 5 locations and all of them have social media. And we always invest in that because it's free marketing. People are gonna see it, they're gonna book appointments, and it's a trickle down effect. Yeah. So even if you're behind the chair, pull up that, that ring light. Hire someone for $20 an hour, $30 an hour to come and film you so that you can have these things, because even though it's an expense now, it's gonna keep paying off. So I will just encourage everybody here to just really, hone in on your social media. Like, it's gonna keep getting better.
Thank you very much. That is like the best advice ever. Social media is our platform. That's what gets us out here. Gone are the days of hair magazines. I don't really see much of any of those anymore. So it's important for us, no matter what we're doing, to put it out on social media. Now, I'm Annette, you're doing your thing. I love it. I've been watching you for quite some time. I do everything myself. So what I try to do is at least 5 posts in advance, do my wording, I'm sorry, I'm at a loss of words. But the thing is that I try to do 5 in advance so that I don't get stuck after a long day and have to worry about what am I going to do today. Because it can be overwhelming. It is a little overwhelming to post. You're finishing, I'm finishing with work, now I have to post because I need to be seen. Yeah. And then at the other end of the story, social media is a little it's a little strenuous because they put you algorithm. You gotta be out there, you gotta post, you gotta be seen. I get a message, you did good, but do 6 more, and they put up a story and stuff, and I'm like, oh, God, I didn't know. So, Annette, I really appreciate what you shared with me today, with all of us today, and that is social media is very, very important, especially with small businesses, large businesses, in it all. Yes. I'm sorry.
So I would suggest, first, yes, social media. You've got millions of people at your fingertips, right? And then if you invest in ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, TikTok ads, $10 a day, you can see tremendous growth and sales, right? Or bookings. So it's always a good thing. To get from behind the chair, when I have mentorship sessions with other small business owners, especially those in haircare, I'm always telling them to think outside the box. One stream of income, we all know we should have 7 streams of income, and I say sometimes 8, right? You have your stream of income of the people in your chair. You may have your products that you're selling too. But how about we get you MWBE certified so that you can work with the DOE and you can get contracts that are 6-figure contracts, so you're no longer depending on the person on the chair, but you are now teaching to the local schools how to lock your hair, how to do hair care, and you're making money off of that, right? That's one thing. Then there's also, what about getting yourself certified with the state, aside from working with the DOE, so that other locticians that want to come in, or potential locticians, can learn from you. You're certified, you're able to teach them how to become certified. If you need a certification, do you? I mean, you would need do you need a certification to be a hairdresser? Yes? Natural hair. Okay, so that's what we want to help teach them. And that's what they want to pay you to teach them to do, right? We always have to think of many ways. So for my business, yes, we sell clothing, we sell art and all the things, right? We represent the brands, we sell their things in our store. But we also have custom printing for individuals and corporate clients. We also have a festival that we did every Juneteenth at Black History Month. I also do mentorship, or I not just one-on-one, but also with corporations, let them pay me big checks so that I can teach people, right? Always looking for different ways to keep your business sustainable, so that if one stream gets dry, you still have overflow from others.
Yeah.
I wanted to address what you were saying earlier about the burnout that comes with the social media content. And I just have a couple of tips. You don't have to use brand new content all the time. You can repurpose old content. That one video you made, you can use it with a different voiceover or some different music. Maybe you can even take screenshots from that video and post it to a carousel. So now you have a photo post. So there's a lot of different ways that you can repurpose the same thing, so you're not experiencing burnout, which is really easy to happen when you're dealing with social media and you're trying to compete with all of the other people in your field. They always tell you the market's so saturated, of course, but you can find your ideal customer through posting different types of content, and repurposing old content.
So now that we've kind of spoken about defining what those standards are, what the blueprints and business legacies can be, what about protecting and elevating the culture? So in this particular line of thinking, Patricia, I'm going to start with you. So with the rise of DIY, right, and social media trends, as we've just been discussing, and the work that goes actually behind doing that, I don't know how y'all do it. How do professionals protect the integrity, right, of lock care while also still encouraging accessibility?
So, I protect my integrity, and I'm sure most locticians, all locticians do, with honesty. I do not put anything out that is not mine. I give to my clients, to my people, what I would want for myself. So if, like Annette says, and I keep going back because she's a loctician, so I can relate to her. The comb coil is her thing. I've watched her videos, I've seen her do it. It's not mine. I can do it, but I'm not comfortable doing it. So protecting your integrity is giving what you know is best for the client that will be portrayed at its best, right? I got lost in my thought, and you were saying another half of the.
No, just really thinking around that, but also encouraging accessibility. And when I hear you speak in the academic space, it's like plagiarism.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
So there's a code of conduct, there's ethics that is a part of the work that you do, right? And showcasing, highlighting the way that you have been so far on this panel, Annette, which I absolutely love, I love her so much. The way that we give credit where credit is due, right? And support the communities that we're a part of to be able to lift that. So thinking about preserving, right, that legacy and culture, it sounds like that's something that's a part of your practice.
Yes, definitely. And just to go back to the social media thing, I know it's like a each one teach one. Each one teach one. So I'm listening to Michelle and listening to all that she offers, and I know that she can teach me more. I'm listening to what Annette is saying, and Keisha and Laveda, so I can get information from all. And with that, I can spread it. You know, you have to know to give. So you can't just give false hope, false promises, and misinformation, and it just messes up the blueprint. The blueprint has been gone because it's based off of lies, plagiarism, and that's not good for us. That's not good for our culture. It's not.
Absolutely. I wish other people knew that. So, Keisha, as someone with a very large following, how do you balance innovation with authenticity, particularly when representing Loc culture?
Well, without the authenticity, there's no trust. And as someone who's been sharing my Loc journey since 2010, yes, on social media, the trust is what has been able to keep me lasting, give me the longevity. But the innovation is what's keeping me relevant. And so you need to have a balance of both. Without the innovation, you're gonna be stagnant, and you're probably gonna have some drop off, and people are gonna stop following you or stop caring about what you have going on without having anything new to make you stand out, right? And if you drop off your authenticity, or if you know, what's the word I'm looking for? If you're showing a lack of integrity on social media, which is really easy to do, then you're also gonna lose your following and your trust. So at the end of the day, what is the mission? The mission is to share the love and light and Locs. That's my name, my brand, Love, Light, and Locs. The mission is to share that, and well, my mission, I'll say, my mission is to share positive representation of Locs in a more visible way. There's oftentimes there are stereotypes and stigmas that are tied to Locs, and they're not always perceived as beautiful or desirable or respectable or all those things. So my mission is to combat that, and I do that through education and through sharing my journey and journeys of others and all the things that I've learned. And yeah, so it's really important for us to have, to be innovative, to stay relevant, and to access more and more people, but that authenticity is needed to balance that, to build that trust.
Yeah. At core, you hear this word responsibility, right? So there's responsibility to the culture, to integrity, to preserving that, right, and sharing it. So I think that's really coming across tonight. Annette, so Napstar has scaled, right, to multiple locations while also keeping consistency. That's another part of preserving legacy, right? So how do you maintain cultural integrity at scale?
That's such a good question. So, if you've ever worked with me or been to any Napstar location, there's a certain way that I work, which is mean I don't stop working.
Yeah.
So the moment I go into the salon, I start working until the moment I leave. It's just, and I have a very aggressive, fun, bubbly approach to working and working really hard. So I have to give it up to my management team, honestly, because my management team acts like Annette. So when they're in the salon, they're not the type of managers that are just gonna sit in the background and let like the whole team work, because then it breaks down the team trust. So our managers are already gonna like motivate the client, motivate the team with huddle in the morning. They're gonna help wash hair, they're gonna help take out the trash, they're gonna make sure you guys have food, they're gonna keep, like if there's any client problems, they're gonna deal with it. So that's how we're able to keep scaling, because our management team is so strong. They all are trained to work like Annette, like how are we gonna get it in today, what's going on? And so that's how we continue to scale, with just really building up our management team. And then we also do quarterly trainings. So we have a quarterly training, and that's where we assess all the stylists that are working with us and how we can improve their skills at the quarterly training. And then we also go over some of the standards at the quarterly trainings to make sure everyone's still on point. So a lot of lead by example. Because they have to follow it from you. If you're the head of the lead, you have to drive the ship, and then everyone has to follow suit. So it's really important that I'm always maintaining that standard. I'm always working really hard, even if I'm not in the salon.
Yeah, I love that so much. I teach fundamentals of management, right, to the business students, and other students who take the courses, but it's a core, being able to influence, right? To be able to be a leader in that space, to influence, and managers have to have that. So it's interesting to hear you speak specifically about that scaling, management, and particularly how they have taken it's a strategic management way of integrating your principles, your core, into the way that the team approaches it. So yes, that's pretty.
I'm really involved in all the salons, and I know all the management. I talk to them every single day, so that I really know what's happening in real time, and that makes it, they know we're on them. And also our management team is, it's 5 locations, we only have 5 managers.
Yeah.
So they really follow suit, because we're really in there with them all the time.
Thank you. Michelle. So again, we're thinking about protecting and elevating culture here. So you secured partnerships with global brands, right? What lessons do you think locticians and stylists take from your journey specifically, right, when working with corporations or larger platforms? How can you share and give in that space in particular?
Yeah, sure. I'll start from the forming of the partnerships to the maintaining. So for my business, a lot of the partnerships that we actually, forged came to us. They came to us by seeing our work and how we just basically impact the community. And so it's been very organic, but I'm very much the type of person that when I'm connecting with someone on whichever team, I'm learning about that person, learning how to build a rapport with them authentically, so that you're not just Sue in management for MasterCard or wherever. You are now, hey girl, how the kids, how's the family, how's everything going, right? And that keeps you at top of mind. So that's one part, but then also with MasterCard, right? I've actually been partners with them long before they got into supporting long before everybody got into supporting Black-owned businesses. They've been doing this. I'll just say that. So, after George Floyd, rest his soul, a lot of corporations jumped on and wanted to support Black-owned businesses. They didn't want us to burn things down. That's what they were really concerned about, right? But they have been supporting me since 2019. And even after, it was a 5-year initiative that they were doing, their Strivers initiative, pouring millions into small businesses. Once that's done, it's okay, how do we continue this relationship? I have my yearly, what we call it, what is it called? Your impact report, right? At the end of the year. These are all the businesses we've supported, how much money we poured out, da-da-da-da. This is who has helped us throughout. This is what I have planned for next year, guys, because I know you do your budgets in October. And so you're gonna start earmarking money for 2026. So let me show you what I wanna do for 2026 so you can earmark some of that for me, right? These are the things I want y'all to know. Like, if you don't, when we talk about sponsorships, Lovey and I would talk about that. I'm like, yeah, you gotta get them early, girl, especially when it's marketing, because marketing is always the first to go when things get hard. We know things are rough right now. So, but that is it. It's really building those foundations authentically. And then also saying to them, because one thing I've learned throughout this whole journey is your, what do I call it? I guess corporate capital in a sense, but not money. It's really your connections, right? So having those corporate relationships have really saved me in situations in which other small businesses may have been pushed out. They're like, oh no, we know she's with so-and-so. And I didn't even know this, I just found out. But they're like, we know she's connected with so-and-so. Her media reach is large, or we don't want to be the business that did this to her, right? And I'm like, oh snap, I didn't know that they looked at it that way. But it's good to know when you have these corporate relationships, you have friends in good places, and not just corporate, local too. So I'll quickly say, something happened. They were trying to tell people, hey, you gotta go. And I said, okay, Chamber of Commerce president, Brooklyn Borough president, I got this weird letter. I don't know what this means. And they made some phone calls, and the next day I got an apology. They don't know where it came from. So I've learned the beauty of authentically being me, building real relationships, that when I see the borough president, I'm like, how you doing, Antonio? When you coming by? And then knowing when to leverage them when I need to, and not just going to them for everything, but keeping them in my back pocket when the time is right. So build those relationships and have those people in your corner. Don't give us awards and all these things if you're not going to stand up for us.
Absolutely. So Lavetta, as a civic innovator and curator, right? How do you see events? Now, cultural gatherings, right? Serving as a safeguard, really, against the dilution of Black hair culture. So, what role do you think festivities, right, festivals, what role do you believe they play in affirming and protecting our blueprint?
They play an important role if we allow them. I think, people can curate an event how they see fit. So, but I know that Locnificent Fest, we don't try. We are intentional about what is showcased, about what is spotlighted, and what is amplified. So I think it's very important, and it is part of the blueprint. It's part of what sets the standard. Because events like Locnificent Fest, sometimes there are people in the room who might be looking for a loctician, or they don't have a lot of knowledge about locks or natural hair, or they've been rocking braids, and their hair there's a lot of tension, right? And maybe they'll meet someone or see a style or see something to showcase, and they have a new appreciation for locks and natural hair and what it could look like, right? Then you have businesses that are there that have wonderful products, you know, that are both clean and helpful and, you know, organic. So, and I think it's also an opportunity to network, right? You get to meet people in the room and have a good time too. So I think, I lost my train of thought.
You can just hit it.
I lost my train of thought.
It's,
How is the blueprint?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I'm gonna circle back. But yeah, no, essentially, I think the event in and of itself, or all events are important, but ultimately what I was trying to say, it depends on the curator, because not every event around hair is gonna be authentic. Not every event around hair or culture is gonna set a blueprint and set a standard, right? So I think it's within the people who organize it, the people who, to be honest, I gotta say this, I am grateful for everyone who chooses to be part of Locnificent Fest in any way, shape, or form, because they help create that blueprint. Like, I just have a vision, but from the vendors to the performers to the volunteers to everyone, like, without everyone, like, it wouldn't be what it is, right? So, and I think as a collective, people come into the space with a certain mentality, and everyone, I can attest to it, like, people feel like they're at home, like it's a family, they're running back, oh, next year we gotta go to the hair show, oh, we have a little inside, so like there's a chat, like there's so much buzz around this hair show, like it's, and you know, like, so I'm grateful for those people, and I think it's important, I think, once you start, and not to toot my horn, it kind of starts from the organizer too, because I'm like organic, I'm authentic, and I'm about the culture, right? So, and I think I reflect that, and the people that come out, people always say, oh, the people here, like their culture, they're cool, it's a good ambiance, it's a good vibe. I think, and thank God, that's a reflection of the person curating it, so.
that's right, 100%. Right? And I think just kind of opening this up to the panel, and this is our last question to the panel, so I'd love to hear all of your thoughts. What do you see as like the biggest threat to our culture's blueprint today, right? And how do you think, you know, we could collectively safeguard it? So just think about your experience, think about what you've been doing, what's led you here. We've talked about integrity, we've talked about responsibility, we've talked about, you know, being open to allyship and other people who are rightly intended, right, doing this type of work with us. So how do you bring all of that into this as you think about this? And I'll let you go in the order that you choose.
I think the biggest threat to our culture is the fact that they're trying to pull all of our greatness away from spaces so that no one can see. They're taking it away from museums, they're trying to. They're taking it away from education. Even in sports arenas, some places, they're taking the liberty to cut what we've grown, what our family wants for us, what our heritage has built for us. So I think to keep our blueprint building stronger, we keep pushing. We push forward on education. We push forward on social media, right? And we just keep spreading the word, and we walk with our heads and our crowns up high. And we help one another. If I see your crown isn't straight, sis, I know you good, and I'm gonna help you. So I think that we build together, we stay strong together, keep educating one another and everyone, and I think that our legacy should live on. It's not that easy to get rid of us, I'm sorry.
That's right.
I would say our biggest threat to us is us, and I mean this by, if we don't know who we are and what we have, we lose it, right? And we've seen that in our communities, right? We've seen that through home ownership, we've seen that through many things. And so we have to start with us, educating our children, making sure they understand legacy and wealth building, understand ownership, all the things. And we, like you said, have to continue to lift each other up. But look, 92%, we've been struggling. We've been going through things. We are not new to this. And we are still thriving and surviving, right? Because that's what we know, especially in this country, right? So no matter what they try to take from us, they can DEI us and remove it. They can do all the things they want to do. We're still going to rise. We're still going to keep going because that's all we know to do. And that's not going to stop us. We just have to remember who we are, what we have, and stand on that.
I would say our biggest threat is money. Personally, when I've been able to scale, I put myself on salary. So it doesn't matter if I bring $2,000, $5,000 in sales in one day, I only get my salary and everything else goes to the pot. And therefore I'm able to invest in social media, invest in growing more businesses, invest in paying staff, invest in anything that we want to do to help to grow our business. So money, don't pocket. Everything you made today does not mean that you made that. No. Half of it goes to the pot, the rest goes to you, and then you do whatever you want with it. But stop pocketing all your money, and then you have nothing to grow your business, and then you've been in business 10, 15, 20 years, and you're still at the same spot because you're not willing to take those risks. Those little risks you take will feed the seeds of tomorrow. So if you take those little risks, and you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna do this for a year, and then in a year you get to that point, and then you get to really reap those benefits. So I would encourage you guys to just, if you're a business owner, put yourself on salary, get your owner's equity when the time is right, but be willing to take those risks because it will pay off.
Sorry. Because she said one, but I'm going to jump on this one. Reinvest into your business, like you're saying, and also have a bail team. Your banker, your accountant, your insurer, and your lawyer, right? You want to make sure that you cover yourself on all fronts, because I think the biggest issue that we have, to your point, money, is business. You don't know what you don't know, but you better go somewhere to learn it, right, before you find out the hard way. So you have resources like Brooklyn Commons that has the Small Biz Pop-Up Fair coming up. You have New York City Small Business Services where I used to work. That's free to you. We have, Business Solution Centers. We have Brooklyn Women's Business Center over in East New York. There are so many free services, even Canva, Bedside Restoration. There are so many free business services around here that you can tap into, and CDFIs that you can tap into in order to get the funding and the support that you need so you don't fall and you don't fail. And then of course we have our lovely moderator here who teaches business, so I'm sure she can tell you about that.
Thank you.
You all have great answers. I would say one of the main things that could kill the blueprint is us feeling the need to always be self-sufficient and not nurturing our communities. And when I say our community, I mean our friendships and our relationships with people that we know. Because when we have those relationships nurtured, we can lean on them and we can help each other. And when we are too prideful to ask for help, that's really when we end up failing. So I think that us remembering the importance of our community, not just on a large scale, but like on an intimate scale, is what we need to keep doing.
These are all great answers. I think I would say one of our biggest threats is division within our community. Personally, I just believe so passionately in the power of unity, community, and being each other's support system. I think that one of our issues is that we do not pour into each other enough. I think it's slowly changing, right? Supporting, I mean, look at this. 5 Black women-owned businesses, and I'm I say women-owned because we happen to own women, but supporting Black-owned businesses specifically, right? Like, people are so quick to like go and run and buy XYZ and spend thousands of dollars, but then there's a challenge when, you know, a Black-owned business wants to charge set amount, right? But we are worth over $1 trillion in spending, right? If we continue to pour into each other, pour into our community, and do what we do like tonight and going forward and you know, intentionally, I think it'll have a big impact. So I think one of our biggest issues is that there's too much divide. I think there needs to be more unity and there needs to be more collaboration. And I think some people echo that already.
These are all really, really wonderful responses. And it's something for us to really sit with, to chew on, to ruminate, to digest, right? So I'm grateful for that. But as we're bringing this conversation to a close, I really want to be able to carry us forward, not just with the wisdom we've heard tonight, but the responsibility that comes with it, right? We've heard integrity, we've heard responsibility. Our hair, our locks, our styles, our culture, they are more than aesthetics, right? They are a living testament to our resilience, to our creativity, to our freedom, right? And at the time when forces at this time are actively working, you know, to erase, to diminish, to silence Black contributions in this country, we cannot afford to be passive. That's part of my work. You know, it's about standing up, speaking up, despite the challenges that exist, because you know what? That's what the people before us did, right? And so we have to remain steadfast in our artistry, in our businesses, you know, in our storytelling, hearing your perspectives this evening, and in our unapologetic expression of who we are. We do not have to diminish ourselves. We do not have to quiet ourselves. We need to stand firm and steady, as we always have. And that's the thing that we cannot afford to forget in this moment. So tonight we're reminding everyone, ourselves included, that we are the blueprint. So if there were any doubts or questions, there should be no more, right? But think about this, a blueprint is not meant to be hidden. They know. It's meant to be built upon, right? It's meant to be expanded. And it has to be shared with the world. At the end of the day, it has to be shared with the world. And so that is the charge that is before us, to be able to preserve what is sacred, to protect what is under threat, and to pass it on even stronger than we found it. This reminds me of Lovetta's mother and grandmother, right? It reminds me of my mom and my grandparents, and I'm sure it reminds you of yours, right? This legacy, the shoulders that we stand on are firm, right? And this is exactly why Locnificent exists. So I want to bring us back to that, because the vision of Lavetta, we're not just having conversations, you know. We're creating a movement, culture, community that is going to ripple far beyond these walls, far beyond today, right? It's her commitment that really ensures that our beauty and our brilliance are not only celebrated, Lavetta, but also documented. right? It's elevated, it's safeguarded for generations to come, for my littles and yours. All right, so as we leave tonight, let's remember the fight for freedom, for justice, for equity is ongoing. Period. Period. Okay? And keep in mind that our culture is one of our most powerful weapons in that fight. So don't forget that. Let's wear it, let's protect it, let's share it, let's speak about it boldly, proudly, and without compromise. This is what I tell my students, without compromise. But that means you have to know, which means you have to read. You need to dig into that, right? So I want you to please join me in thanking these phenomenal parents. Roche, it's Michelle Cador, it's Patricia O, it's Keisha Charmaine, and it's our visionary and curator, Lavetta Amour. We are absolutely the blueprint, so don't forget that. Let's try to continue to build, to protect, to celebrate this culture that we've created on our own terms. So I want to see all of you on Sunday.
Yes.
Right? Show up. This is where it matters, right? We need to continue to build this, keep this conversation going throughout the whole entire year, because this fight is real.